Hey everyone, no BCS this weekend, but a lot of BRO results as well as WGP. And this is the first weekend where the ban list came into effect for English. So for premium at least, we have some hits like Narukami, which might have changed things or might have not, we'll see. But we at least have a small look at the new format, right? As well as how the BT13 plus lyrical scenes have evolved, with like Shiranui on that in the East, in Japan at least, as well as in China. I think we got some results from there. Anyway, let's take a look at the BRO results. It was great. Me and Kelvin were casting AO, and we saw our games in the finals. Well, basically the top cut were like insane. Every single game went the distance. The top 8 for us was actually 2 Mega Colony, 2 Bermuda Triangle, and then 1 Nubatamara, Narukami, Grand Blue, and Genesis. Our Bermuda Triangles were actually Riviere and Highlander, so not the normal ones that you normally see. Narukami's still doing pretty well, but our winners was actually Sean Chua coming in first with the Nubatama, and then a Log Anime with the Ghidorah. Then third was Julius with the Riviere, so be able to make it there, and then Gasha Dokuro came fourth with Narukami. So able to still do okay with Narukami. And we'll take a look at some of the decks, right? So the Nubatama, this one was quite cool. I think one thing to note, this is not running Mukuro. Sean did say that he does not like Mukuro. It does mean that a lot of the how do you say it? The strides here does require counterblast. So when you get damage denied, which Sean did get damage denied either by his opponent or by an overtrigger, it was forced to go into Harmonix Messiah. So I guess one thing I was thinking of taking out was to replace one of the G guards with a Jakubetsu, which doesn't require CB. But other than that, if you were able to see the games, Sean played this very, very insanely well, able to clean up the whole field pretty much every turn, empty field on his side while just denying his opponent of resources. And yeah, just a really, really good showing on what Shiranui can do and how oppressive it can be. And then next was the this is the Ghidorah. This is kind of interesting in that you're running some of the old Ghidorah as well as the limit plays, and then also running the Mega Antlion, right, to able to just put on some extra pressure with a bit of guard restrict. 4 of the Candelara though, so this is a PR that was kind of hyped up before. It can make tokens. Tokens are not very good against Nubatama though, so you have to be careful there. But it creates extra plant tokens that you can kind of suck up later. For your the Gnantis, what is it called? Malignantis. Yeah, I can't really say that properly. And then just some of the Mega Colony battle as it really come into play in some of the matchups. It does allow you to win through other means when you play through all your Ghidorahs, all 4 Ghidorahs, which actually saw a lot of the Mega Colony players play like all their Ghidorahs in one game. So. Well, in both their top 8 games. So it was actually pretty insane. But yeah, 4 Ghidorahs, and then your Jaggy GB8 as well. So a pretty standard lineup, I think, for the Stride deck, but some interesting techs here for the main deck. Moving on here as well is the Riviere. I think this was very one of the fan favorites of the stream. It just once it goes off, it just goes off, and then just high rolls and kills your opponent. Opponent can't really do anything. You just attack with Vanguard multiple times. As you can see, there's a lot of grade 0 Rivieres I can use with just to high roll and get more grade 1 Riviere draws, I guess. So I think that's cool. I think that's nice. Combo with courage as well. But yeah, this is kind of funnily enough, I think the Riviere deck overall is not that expensive. So if you really wanted to, you can build it and high roll your opponent as well, right? So that was pretty much AO. Next is EU. EU had 3 Bermuda Triangles. 2 of them were the Loop, 2 Mega Colony, 1 Narukami, 1 Nubatama, and 1 Link Joker. And then after that was Yanal coming in first with the Highlander, and then Mana was second with the Chaos. So this finals was definitely not in favor of Mana, right? Highlander should just auto win against Chaos. Also, Sage came third with the Eve Loop, so big congrats there. But unfortunately, had to face Yanal in top 4, and then Yanal opened like 2 the double Pearl Sisters and just went to town. And then followed was Entropy with the Ghidorah as well. So as you can see, yeah, two Eve loops this time in EU. And then the Highlander deck is just pretty much a good stuff Highlander deck. I think Inal is doing also. I think they played an AO as well. I swear I saw Highlander deck as well, but we just weren't able to feature it. This one is, it's just still a good deck, right? Not much really to say. Highlander just got the Katir hit, but still very strong. Especially actually against something like Eve, where they don't want to get rushed, while this deck can just like beat you up without requiring a CB. And then here's the Chaos. So running 2 of this. Wow. Okay, two high rarity Chaos regular dragons. But yeah, this is Chaos that we've also seen basically unchanged in the entire season, but not just the BRO season, the entire premium season. Just doing pretty good with around 2 closes as well. So they're able to just kind of full lock your opponent's board, and they can't do anything, especially loop, right? And then afterwards we have the Eve loop. So this is the unchanged build from Philippines that Mark used to play. And it's just, I think everyone's just been playing this one. So yeah, this is just go to Batua and go to town on the deck, and they just lose, right? Very fun and interactive. And then lastly, we have BRO NA. So this was actually dominated by 2 Narukami and then 1 Bermuda Triangle, D-Pole, Link Joker, Dark Regulars, Gold Paladin, and Angel Feather. So this was actually Angel Gize apparently. This was actually Celestials as well. So that's pretty deep. And then after that, Seraph came first with the Narukami, beating up Dylan with the Narukami. So all the Narukamis were able to the 2 Narukamis were able to win. And then Nguyen Min Kwang came in third with the Chaos Breaker. So another Link Joker, Chaos Top, and then Miguel with the D-Pole. So just a quick look at the deck. So this is the new Narukami list. Once you take out the Demolition Dragons, and they put an extra of the Chainbolt Dragoons, which I guess lets you like search Vanquisher more? I guess. I don't think there's really that many other applications for it, because you don't really bind it from hand or anything like that. I guess against other Narukamis, you get to bind this card from hand. So in the mirror, I guess you get a bit of an advantage. Then next we have another one here. So this one is running some of the birds. I know Gasha was running Rolox. So that's the other build. That's the other change. So just take 4 of them out, put 4 of these in, or put 4 or whatever you want in. And then the Link Master deck. So this one has only 1 Chaos close, I mean. Also running 2 Strange Dragons. Alright, so that's a bit of an interesting tech, as well as quite a few Rolox for this one. And then, yeah, the Stride deck. Ooh, got a Stark there. And then lastly, we got the D-Pole. So D-Pole is just Dieliner.deck. I don't think there's anything that different when you compare it to everything else. Seems like your good old D-Pole deck. So what do I actually think? There's some thoughts on these like top 8s, right? So we can kind of take a quick look. So in NA and AO, there were no loop decks that top, which is unfortunate. Well, not really, I don't know. Is it unfortunate or fortunate? While in EU, there are 2 Eve loops. One thing you want to know about BRO that makes it different is that, one, I think a lot of people were predicting that loop was going to be played because, one, people were talking about it before the tournament. So people would be like, wow, if people are bringing loops, I'm just going to bring Mega Colony. And I can guarantee you, at least in AO, there were a lot of Mega Colony plays. I think it was maybe the 2nd best represented deck. So that's pretty much just a hard counter to loops. Also, by now, I feel like more people know how to play correctly against loops, especially when you know that your opponent is playing loops, right? So that's a big difference. When you are playing in real life, you don't know what your opponent is playing until they flip up their starting Vanguard, and then you look at that and go, oh dear, I should have mulliganed a bit differently. But in BR, you do. The moment you get paired against your opponent, you know what they're playing. You look at the deck list, you go, you're playing loop, I'm just going to mulligan all my non-grade 1s, for example, and then just throw down the hand and just bash your face, right? So, or any other different way that you will want to play against the deck. So I think that's one of the big factors when that separates BRO from real life, and why maybe playing loop in BRO was not the correct play, right? People know what you're playing. before you do. In real life, at least, you'll have like 4 rounds where no one will know what you're playing. And then so they'll prepare against it accordingly. And then the higher amount of mega colonies, I have to say, in the matchup, which just makes it just awful or makes it unplayable, at least for a loop player. But we still just saw 2 of them, and one of them came 3rd. So loop is still pretty good, pretty degenerate deck. And we were able to not have to feature it in AO at all, which is kind of good. Just for the viewing experience, it's just awful, right? When people are looking at alt loops, it's just boring, and just get rid of it, right? I think they should get. I think after the like casting a lot of the decks in AO as well, casting Mega Colony was also really boring, especially in the good player matchup, where, you know, a Mega Colony player would play against a good player, and it was just a huge grind fest that lasts like ages, right? Lasts forever. Pretty boring to watch. Well, not really boring, like in the end, because like it was good players playing each other, and they were like playing out of their minds. It was pretty cool just to get really technical. But yeah, it lasted forever, and I don't know. It sounds like a poor viewing experience. I feel like everyone who plays into Mega Colony as well, they go, oh, it's one of these. It'll be one of these really, really boring matchups as well. Long matchup, long grindy matchup. So I don't know. We'll see what Boucher wants to do, but at least get rid of loop, right? Next, we have the Nagoya, WGP Nagoya. So what is interesting here is the Luard and Shiranui deck sets. Let's look at the impact of them. And wow, right? At least in block A, there are 2 blocks, by the way, because a lot of players. Shiranui being the biggest represented deck here. This is teams as well, with the diversity card. I'll tell you where it is. 11 Shiranui, 9 Maigo, right? These, at least the Maigo is pretty much the dominating deck right now in JP, and I guess that's good that we're not getting Maigo, because I feel like our meta would be pretty boring. And after that, huge drop off into like Youthberg, Leonorn, Bastion, etc. So that was quick. It's at 13. Power creep like crazy. And then this is what was the Swiss, right? The undefeated and the X1s. Basically, yeah, so a lot of these decks, at least in Block A, are running just Maigo and Shiranui as their core, their 2 decks, and then everything else is kind of like a 3rd deck, right? Interesting, the first place player did not run, team did not run any Maigos at all. And then some Luards, but not much. Definitely not much. Shiranui is the clear winner here. But then, as you can see, around 7th placing, this place, 7th place, this is where the diversity cut starts. See, wow, there's Faker. I thought he was playing Worlds that day, but apparently not. Playing Itsuki. But you can definitely see the big change in how the decks are represented. This Bastion, was Bastion even represented in Top Cut? Yeah, so no Bastions as well. Bastion, PBO, and Itsuki, 0 cards in the undefeated slot. So obviously this is where diversity cut starts. And after that, you have a few more like Maigos coming up, and then, you know, a few more Luards. Messiah. This is pretty meta here. Like this Morphonica, Maigo, Shiranui lineup is shared by 2. And then, yeah, a few more. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're not going to go too deep into it. There are all the codes in JP Decklog if you want to look. And then here is the top 4. So this is the Unison dress is the one. This is the Miltai team, right? And they were playing Shiranui, Maigo, and Leonorn. So Leonorn is a pretty good like 3rd place slot, because if you look at the before, like Full Blast is definitely the more meta 3rd slot, right? TCG crew was 2nd with the Luard, Shiranui, and Full Blast. And then another one here with only the Maigo. So people will definitely like Maigos more than Shiranui. Followed by Bastion and Full Blast. And then the last one is just Shiranui, Drad Jeweled, and Full Blast, right? So looking at some of the decks, I do just in the top 4, the interesting ones. So first off, we have just the Unison Dress team. This is the new kind of Leonorn build that is popping around after the new PR here. So this is a new PR. People have been taking out the old PR, the grade 2 PR, and then just running 4 of this, a bunch of orders with the Zorga line. And I guess you just power up with Katrina, and then, well, not Katrina, sorry, she looks like Katrina because she has green hair. She looks like green Katrina, right? But hey, you know, this is the Rosarium Fairy. So I guess it's like more consistent to call out a bunch of like from the PR, it's easy to just call a bunch of Rosarum fairies out and then just kind of power up and bash. If you play something like, if you put like one of these on one of your Rosarum fairies, then they get massive. Or what, not on the Rosarum fairy, on the back row, then you know every attack you do, like your Rosarum fairies get bigger and bigger because you just target the one, right? And then this is just kind of like a, I guess it's 13k, 13k on the. I guess like you put this in the back and then your Rosarum fairies copy that, right? So yeah, they get the 13k. They get a bit of a counter charge, I guess, which makes it pretty cool. But yeah, I feel like maybe there's just no slot for the 20ks, and this kind of goes off a bit faster. It does make it so that your grade 3 turn is kind of meh, but at the same time, you know, if you copy, just make big hull, no multi-attack, right? No, none of the dragons, so that's pretty interesting. And this, I guess that's what you sacrifice when you play like no mask. Just your grade 3 is kind of not good. 4 of this order, so lets you get look at top 7 and grab 2 cards. So I guess when this used to be not play, but now it is, right? Now it is, lets you plus, so I guess you can save some hand cards, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Afterwards here we got the Shiranui as well. So this one is actually just a pretty standard Shiranui, I guess. Not even running the new grade 4, but I guess this means that you can search it out, right? Can you? No, you have to search a Shiranui. Oh no, I think you can. So no, you can't. You have to search the Obro. So this one doesn't have the first kanji. Yeah, this one probably a cheaper build. Also running this grade 2, which is just coming to play soul charge running at 5k, so it's a 13k build. This is again another way to soul charge in your deck. I guess this one's just much more, how do you say, confirmed, right? Forktail. Can you really miss? I don't think you can miss, but this one at least is a grade 2 that you can use to intercept. Yeah, I guess. Then after this we have Luard. So this is how do I explain this? Pretty standard Luard, 4 painkillers, one of the maple, and then it's pretty much it. I do think this is more, how do I say it, like just the easier changes that people have been doing. Just put in the 4 painkillers and 1 maple. And then after that, we have another Shiranui. So this one is kind of, I don't know, right? Like 3 Esperaldias that you can search out with Forbidal. And this means it works with a dragon, right? So the dragon can now have a defensive play. But in that case, I don't know why you just run 4 of the dragons and why bother with the 1 Shiranui, right? Pretty sure, like, this is just straight up better. I guess it's not a stealth, but you're not running Forktail, so it doesn't really matter. And then you have 4 of the Shenri, which is just your soul charge engine. But yeah, that's pretty much that. Here is a Bastion. Why do I want to take a look at the Bastion? So there has been some Bastion changes that will be coming to effect in set 13. So in set 13, we are getting the Sapient Owl as the PR, so you need 4 of these. But now you can combo this with 4 of the new BT13 Dragon grade 3s, which means that like this gives cards boost. So when it comes into play, it gives 2 regards boost, which is what you're searching for. You're searching for ways to give your other regards boost, but also has 15k shield when you can reveal a grade 4 or when you're on a grade 4. And since you're Bastion Prime, that means you run 4 of Bastion Primes, right? So you don't run any more of the old grade 3. 4 Bastion Primes combo as well with this dragon that gives you defensive options and lets you give boost. And then, you know, the Sapient Owls there, you can search out the Bastions pretty easily. So yeah, it at least gives value to everything, your entire grade 3 and grade 4 lineup, right? So one of the biggest changes with our release with Sapient Owl and BT13. And then finally, the other Shiranui, the last one. I guess this is probably the most complete out of the lot. 4 of the dragons, right? 4 of the dragons, 3 Shenri, and that's pretty much all the changes you need, I guess. Although, well, yeah, also have 2 of the defensives, which is pretty important, just to at least play through the early game, right? Moving on into Block B. So this one was 100% dominated by Mygo, followed by Dredule and Shiranui. I feel like Dredule and Shiranui, you can kind of like they're kind of interchangeable because they both kind of fill the same role. They both are late game decks that just win. So in terms of in your team, you probably just want to run one or the other, or you can run both, right? Just screw the Migro matchup. Now that was the Youth Bag and basically everything else. And then here was kind of the Swiss. So as you can see, you know, Leonorn again, right? Leonorn, one of Leonorn, basically cucking every single Leonorn out there because everyone wants to run the Migro teams as well. And then, yeah, again, in 7th place, this is where the diversity card starts. Basically, no cards in the top, in the undefeateds, in the 6th place above it. So, pretty straightforward. Then you have, like, things like Bruce. Yeah, again, I'm not going to go too into it. There's the deck logs here. Go check it out on JP deck log, right? But what did come in top 4 was 1st place was the Takashi team with Maigo Shiranui. So, pretty big combo there, followed by the Jeweled. So, they did say they did play what I said, right? Just run both. And then we have the Comical Vanguard group, which ran the Migro and then Full Blast and Leonorn, so more BT13, basically all BT13 decks. They were Bushiroad Pro. Who are these guys? This is Chris and his team with Haripin and Choroshika. I'm pretty sure they will talk about, well, he will talk about this on Tuesday or tomorrow, right? So he was playing Migro, as he always does. And then Haripin is always playing the Token Rambu. And the 3rd player that day was running Luad, which is surprising. Normally, what you'd expect something like Shiranui, right? But, you know, Choroshika had a pretty interesting Luad deck. I think we saw it like last week, though. But we'll point it out again. And then lastly, we have Herminia, Drajuld, and Orphist, right? So looking at some of the decks. First off is that Shiranui deck. Always going to take a look at the Shiranuis and the Luads here. But yeah, again, a pretty more complete deck. 4 of the PR Shenris. And then 4 of the dragons. So pretty much just that, right? Straightforward. And then the Leonorn, again, we see another one. This is the same idea as the Miltai deck, which is 4 of the new PR, no grade 2s, and then just 4 Rosariums, and then 4 of the Unison Dress kind of build. And then after that, the orders, though, are a bit different, I have to say. They were running 3 of the Sympathize DB. Someone watch this, you'll probably cry. But at least this gives I think, you know, this gives like power, right? So it makes your Rosarium berries a bit bigger. So that's pretty good. And then running 4 of the Happy Dreaming Festa just for the pluses. So pretty nice. I actually do like this build a bit more than the others, although this one is not running Misty Arc Habitat, but hey, I think this card is actually pretty good, right? It just makes everything hit big, which is, I think it's probably, you can double dip the power quite a lot with the Unison Dress, usually, and I guess your first Unison Dress for Vivace is like, it's weak because you don't get the Persona Red power, right? But because of this, now your Rosariums will make your attacks at least decently powerful, so I guess there's that. And then we'll feature, I guess, Bushiroad Pro's, you know, all of their decks, because, you know, Chris is my bro. But he was playing Migro. Unfortunately, there's not really much to talk about her, right? 4 of everything, run 1 of the Cry Chicks, and then just run like Perfect Guards. You can run the Overtrigger counter as well. You don't run any Regalias. So yeah, that's the deck. It's actually just that simple to build. Yeah. Haripin was running a bit of a change from what he ran like way back. Yeah, so he's actually running the Forges now. Also running 3 of this guy, which does get power when it gets stood, and you can draw a card. So when it's stood, not in the stand phase. So I think the combo is with this former G guard way back, kind of rest the card, but then it stands it. So boom, right? Massive power, massive draw. Let you kind of go off a bit quicker as well. And then less fronts. Like the trigger lineup, I guess, is a bit weird. Right? 5 crits, 2 fronts kind of thing. But yeah, pretty much this deck is still pretty strong. I feel like it's still a really, really good deck. And then the 3rd place was Choroshika's Luad deck. Now this is, again, kind of the weird build that you normally don't see. 2 of this Angel. So, no, is it PR? Ah, PR. Yeah, so yeah, it's when your Vanguard is attacked, you know, you retire it, and then you you call one of the cards in your damage zone, and then put the top card of your deck into the damage zone. I think it's face up, right? So, okay. Well, you put it in the Guardian Circle. So I guess any like G-Guards that get, not G-Guards, any of your Sentinels that could put there, you can just straight up use that and not feel bad, right? Or a trigger at worst. Also already one of the Putidis, which lets you bind itself when it's the 5th attack or higher, and then it just kind of PGs that. So kind of, I guess it's a more defensive build of Luard, but I think the Angels are kind of new, and this lets you, I guess, just get more defensive, right? If you really need to be defensive, or if stuff is stuck in your damage zone, you can call it out via Luard's skill, and then bam, right? The next turn, you still stay alive. And then the rest of it is just a bunch of other ones too. So like 1 Maple, one of the grade 3 Ritual, but yeah, like 4 Owls, 3 Simius, 4 of the 4 Intercepts, right? So 4 of the Intercept grade 1, and then the only 2 of this, but you don't really need that much, right? When this is like purely focusing on defense, and 2 Painkillers, right? You're out of Painkillers and you still have Soul, put them back in your deck, pull them out, and it's all good, right? It's a pretty interesting Luard build. I like these kind of Luard builds that are innovating, rather than just putting 4 Painkillers and then one thing, 1 Maple, and then calling it a day, right? at least it's trying, right? It's trying. People say Shiranui is the better stride deck set, but you want to play Luard, at least try and make it cool as well, which is what these decks are doing. So very cool. And then lastly, we have BCL in Nanjing. So this was 3 Shiranuis, 2 Maigos, 1 Leonore, 1 Fortia, and 1 Shiana. Yeah, so these 2 decks, Shiranui and Maigo, the dominant decks. And then the winner was the 2 Shiranuis. So first and second are Shiranuis. Third was the Leonore, and then fourth was the Shiana. So Shiana's kind of interesting there. And then the top 4 decks we have, you know, here's the Shiranui. What do we see? Do we see anything new? Any new text? 4 Shinri, and then 4 of the Dragon, right? So I guess that's that. Second place was running only 6 Freestands. Is it running any Esmeralda? Maybe not. 3 Shenris, and then 4. I think this is the put in Soul, like the grade 2. You put a card from drop zone in Soul. Running 4 of that is quite heavy, quite a lot, right? 4 of that. And then 4 of the Dragons, the Stride Dragons. So I guess that's why you had to cut down on the restands. But I don't know, I think restands are pretty good, right? And then third place was the Leonore. So is this the new up? No, this is the mask build. So this is not the super updated PR version. But you know, you run the this is like kind of one of the knack that kind of showed, I think, way back. You run the mask for the ability early game for your first grade 3 ride, and then you go into the units address after as your finisher. And then lastly, we have the Shiana. So, I think it's a kind of a cool deck, but I really won't really talk much about it. Anyway, that is it for this week. Let me know what you all think in the comments below. A bit of a long video, a lot of results to talk about, but a lot of, I guess, extra talk that I did too on top of that. BCS should be resuming next week. I know next week we have Melbourne, right? Which, unfortunately, I'm not going. So, at least we'll get results from that. Alright, so that's it from me. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time. Alright, bye.